Hi, everyone. I'm Jamila. I'm an encourager and I'm the founder of Loved+Blessed. And I'm really excited to kick off our week one of the theme, God's Unlimited Power. So if you are a subscriber to the Loved+Blessed box, you know that the theme this month is all about God's power being unlimited. And I'm really excited that that's how we're kicking off the new year. So if you're with us live, please feel free to leave a comment as I'm going through and sharing. I'd love for this to kind of be a chat. So feel free to leave a comment and I will try my best to reply as we're live. And if you're on the replay or if I don't get a chance to communicate with you while I'm live, I'll definitely reply to you when I'm off the computer. So I wanted to actually start out, before we jump into our week one of our workbook, I wanted to actually start out by sharing a little bit about where the theme came from. So this is actually an idea that I've wanted to share for a long time. But if you're a subscriber to the box, you know that I try to kind of prayerfully consider what the theme is going to be when. And so even though this one's been on my heart for actually a couple of years, I'm always amazed at the timing in which the themes actually are used. So most of you, if you follow me on the blog, know that Loved+Blessed was started mainly out of my infertility journey and kind of the sadness that I felt around that, and God really giving me a new dream and something to encourage me. And so I wanted to encourage other women. And a few years ago, I was at a retreat for a church. And one of the ladies at the retreat, it's a great event. It's a 3-day event. There's, prayer and worship and a lot of time just fellowshipping with the other ladies. And one of the other ladies actually, during one of the sessions in front of everyone, calls me up to the front, and I'm completely thrown off by it at first. And I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not sure what's going on. And she basically presented me with a really beautiful gift. What she had done is she knew, obviously my church family knew about the challenges that my husband and I were having getting pregnant. And so she actually put together this box. And so I'm going to show you the box. It's a really pretty little wood box with a swan on the front. And what she did was she actually went around to all of the other ladies at the event, unbeknownst to me, and asked them to write little prayers, words of encouragement on pieces of paper for me. And she took the time out of her weekend to bind up all these little words, tie them with ribbons, and write this little note inside of the lid of this wood box: God's tools are unlimited. And when she handed this to me, I was in shock because it was something so selfless for her to take time to do. But it also reminded me that no matter what other people say, no matter what a doctor may say, no matter what you think, God can do anything. He has the ability to do anything with any tool that he wants to. Everything is at his disposal because he created everything. And so that was just really encouraging to me. And ever since then, I've wanted to utilize that as one of our themes. So I'm really excited that that was our theme for this month. I would encourage you to reuse your box and maybe do something like this for someone else, because it really touched me. I have opened and read and reread these little notes of encouragement over and over throughout the years. So it's something I'll always cherish. So I just kind of wanted to share that as a little background as to where the theme came from, the idea for the theme. And so, from that, I wanted to put something in the box this month that could really remind you that no matter what we think in our limited, ways of trying to reason and figure things out, God has plans that we could never even imagine. And so this case that we put in the box this month, I use it for my electronic gadgets, but you can use it for cosmetics. You can use it for like a million different things. And of course, because I have a slight pink addiction, I keep my headphones in here. So, it's just a really cute case for gadgets, cosmetics, travel toiletries. People use it for all kinds of things. So I just want you to be reminded when you do use your case that it is a reflection of God's limitless power. So let's jump in to week 1 of the workbook. So if you haven't received or downloaded your workbook, you can go on the blog, and the blog post is entitled Don't Limit God, and you can download the 4-week workbook. I wanted to do something simple that would just help us kind of meditate on the theme all month long. So I'll be jumping on here Thursdays all month, this month of January at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to share with you my thoughts. And like I said, feel free to share your comments and thoughts as well so that we can encourage each other. So the first question that's on week 1 of the workbook is, describe a situation in your past that you thought was hopeless, but God ended up seeing you through. There are so many situations that I could draw on, but the one that I really, really wanted to share, and it's been on my heart really for the last couple of months, is depression. So I've experienced depression throughout my life in various different ways, and many of us experience depression, whether it's clinically and it's something that's been diagnosed, or whether it's situational and you're just going through a period or a season of just feeling depressed in your spirit. And so I really wanted to talk about that, because that is a situation where you do feel really hopeless. It can feel like nothing is going right. You can feel like there isn't anyone who cares about you. Sometimes, my depression would be set on mainly because of the thoughts in my head. So something would happen, and then I start thinking about all these other things that just start piling on. And so I wasn't really thinking clearly. And so I would allow myself to get really depressed. One of the things I want to say to really try to encourage you is, in that time, if you are in a season of depression, if this past Christmas and holiday season has been sad for you, lonely for you, I don't want you to make the mistake of thinking that because you feel sad or depressed now, that can't change, that because it might take time, that it can't get better. And I think that's something to hold on to and to keep in your mind, that it will not last forever, right? It might feel like that. It might feel like it. There might be days, weeks, months. Maybe you've had this feeling on you for years, but it can be lifted. God has the power to do that. And I know that because it's happened for me. And I'm at a point now where I do still have those thoughts sometimes, but when I start to feel depressed, I can actually stop and say, wow, wait a minute. Okay, this isn't what God has for me. He wants me to live a life full of joy. And so even though I'm having these thoughts, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to pray and seek him in order to kind of get my mind back in the right positive frame of mind. So I just want to encourage you that no matter how you may be feeling, that will not continue forever. I know that in those depressed times or in times of disappointment, it really can affect not only you, but the people around you. And so I would just encourage you to reach out to other people who might be around you. And if you aren't experiencing that, or have never experienced that, or maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to bet that there's someone in your life, someone you maybe know personally, directly, or someone who maybe you know through friends, through church, and maybe aren't that close to, but there's someone in your life that could use some encouragement, that may be feeling depressed for various different reasons. And maybe you don't know the exact reasons, but there's something that you could do to reach out to them today, just to remind them that there is hope for things to get better. So I just wanted to kind of share that, for me, that is a situation in my past that felt very hopeless, when I would allow my mind to just get so caught up in negative thoughts and sadness that I felt like I couldn't move forward. And so I don't want anyone else to feel that way. I want you to know that that's that although you may feel that way, you're not alone, and that things can get better. The second part of the question on the workbook for today was, looking back on that situation, what did you learn about trusting God? What I learned, honestly, is that I'm stronger than I thought I was. Those times when you feel like you want to give up and then you make it through them, you should celebrate that. Don't take that for granted. When you're having a really down day and you get through it and you wake up that next morning, maybe you don't feel like jumping for joy, but you should say thank you. You should be excited and just give praise that you made it through those moments. Don't take that for granted, because each time you celebrate those moments that you make it through, everything else will get a little bit easier and a little bit easier. One of the things that I also realize is that in those times, He will bring encouragement in unexpected ways, and that I should look for that. When I was sharing about the theme for this month's box, going through infertility is something that can cause a lot of depression and sadness. And so, for my friend to give me this completely out of the blue and to take her time to go around and ask other ladies to also take a moment to write me a note of encouragement, that is something that I don't take lightly. So look for those things. When you're sad, look for those things, because I bet you anything that there is someone who's reaching out to you, and you just have to be open to it. It might not even be somebody that you expect. It could even just be a stranger saying something really nice or kind to you while you're out, in the street. Whatever it is, whoever it is, just be open to seeing that encouragement. And I think the other thing that I've learned is that your situation a lot of times depends on your perspective. For me, gaining perspective is huge. That's the thing that's brought me from a place of just not being able to control those depressive thoughts to a place of realizing when they're coming and saying, I'm not going to go down that path. I might start feeling that way, but I'm not going to go down that path. And one of the scriptures that's really encouraged me is in 2 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 10:5, where it says, we demolish arguments and every pretense that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. And I think for me, one of the big things that I tend to do is when I start to feel depressed, when I start to feel hopeless, I literally just remind myself and keep saying, take captive every thought. Father, take captive every thought. And for me, that kind of gives me a sense of peace and allows me to realign my thoughts and know that those negative things that I'm thinking aren't of God. Those aren't the things that He wants me to be telling myself. He wants to give me hope, just like He wants to give that to you. And so I pray and ask for my thoughts to be in alignment with Him and obedient to Him, and not negative or depressive or thoughts of hopelessness. So I hope that that's encouraged you. This is kind of our first foray into our workbook here. I'm excited to see what we can talk about and chat about in the next 3 weeks. I hope you'll join me again next Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll be going into week 2. Make sure to go ahead and get on the blog and download it if you haven't downloaded it already. And I just want to encourage you in 2018 that God has unlimited power to do amazing things in your life. I just want you to be open to that, be excited, and be encouraged, expecting those great things. So I hope you've enjoyed this time together. Again, if you're watching the replay, feel free to put a note in the comments, and I'll make sure to reply back to you. And I hope everyone has a blessed rest of the week and a great weekend. Bye.